I'm sure you've all heard the saying, may you live in interesting times. Well, from a tax point of view, you have to say that we are living through times which are definitely full of uncertainty. Does that make them interesting? I'm not sure that the recent budget made things either less uncertain or more interesting. The recent budget was certainly a piece of political theatre, but you had to dig to find the items of real significance. This week, I'm going to highlight some of the points that I think will have a bearing on most, if not all of us, going forward. We saw the effects on public bodies of the new interpretation of IR35. Various government departments have lost programmers, making it difficult to deliver projects because they're all going to be put on the payroll. The government wants to extend this to the private sector. This will inevitably have a big impact on people working through their own one-man companies and also have a big influence on the North Sea. There's no rules published yet, but they've flagged up their intentions. There are three things in capital gains tax. The annual exempt amount went up slightly, but the big one was the introduction of a 30-day payment of tax on gains on residential property. So yet another nail in the residential landlord's coffin. Finally, there was the removal of indexation relief for companies. Individuals lost this relief many years ago. Rent-to-run relief has been around for quite a while. It has been a useful exemption from tax for small bed and breakfasts and guest houses, but the government is perhaps flagging up that in future it will only apply for long lets. So this may be a signal that small B&Bs are going to fall back into the tax net. EIS relief can be a useful incentive to invest in qualifying companies. There is tax relief on the investment and also potential capital gains tax advantages. An enhanced form of the relief will now be offered from April next year for investment in a KIC, a knowledge-intensive company. There was a lot of speculation about what was happening about VAT. One suggestion was that the VAT threshold could be reduced to as little as £26,000. The Chancellor did not do this, but he has flagged up that change may be on the way. Could we see a reduction in the general rates? A different rate for companies? Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. The rates have been frozen for 2 years, so this allows plenty of time for discussion. It appears that there is a problem with suppliers of labour in the construction industry. These suppliers collect the VAT from their main customers and then disappear. There is therefore a proposal that the customers themselves may be made liable for the VAT. Online market platforms are in the spotlight. Traders who use these are liable to account for VAT in the usual way, and just like everybody else. But there are obviously plenty that don't. And some of these are overseas and just using the platform to sell in the UK and don't account for VAT. It's therefore proposed to make the platform itself liable for the VAT. But in any event, all traders will have to display a valid VAT number. HMRC has distrusted partnerships for a long time. The issue seems to be that profits can be moved between partners, and we see this most often with husband and wife partnerships. HMRC want to address this. Nothing's been published yet, but they view the flexibility as manipulation and obtaining a tax advantage. It will be interesting to see what new rules they come up with. Finally, a reminder of the new minimum wage rates applicable from the 1st of April next year. The top rate goes up to £7.83, and there are various adjustments to the lower rates. One thing which I do want to flag up is some issues that we have encountered with the apprentice rate. We have seen a lot of confusion appearing and all tied up with the apprentice rate. So I thought I would clarify the rules here. For the apprentice rate to apply, the apprentice must be going through their training. They must either be under 19 to get the apprentice rate, or can be any age as long as they are in the first year of their apprenticeship, which might not be the first year of their employment with you. There are bound to be other issues that come out over the next few months, but these were the ones that stood out for me. Get in touch if you think any of them will impact on you. I'm Alan Long, Long Partnership, making life less taxing.